Hello. Sorry, there's music going on. Okay, anyway, welcome back to another story reading of Better Off Friends by Elizabeth Eilberg, Germany. And today we'll be reading chapter 11 and 12. And I really hope these are not as long as the last chapters, because that was, okay, it looks kind of like it is. Well then, we'll see how this goes. But anyway, let's just start reading this, because I gotta get through this book and go back to the library, because I've had it for like almost 6 weeks now. Yeah. Okay, let's just read this thing. Chapter 11. I had a lot of time to think about what I was running away from. I had the 2-hour drive with Dad and Uncle Adam to O'Hare Airport. I had the connection in Boston. I had the long flight to Shannon Airport, and then the drive with Grant and Gramps to Dingle. Dingle, sorry. Sorry. At one point, I stopped thinking about what time it was back home. I only concentrated about what was waiting for me in Ireland, which wasn't much of anything. I loved seeing my grandparents, but the town of Dingle was tiny. Dingle, sorry. Okay. I'd only visited my grandparents once, years ago. Mom and I had visited 2 summers before. We went when they still lived and worked in Limerick. Then they decided to retire and move to this quiet fishing village. Gran got a part-time job at the tourist center, while Gramps worked on a book tracing the origins of famous Irish folk songs. Gran said that was his typical Irish excuse to go to pubs at night and listen to music. I always laughed when Gran made fun of Gramps' Irish ways, because he sounded more and more like an Irish-born person with each year. One of my favorite things about my grandparents was their story. They'd met their first week at college in Madison. Gramps said, "Is that like a place, really?" Please tell me if it is. I really don't hear much. Sorry. Anyway, Gramps said he fell in love with her when he spotted her across the quad during orientation. He was too shy to talk to her that day. He beat himself up over it all weekend when he walked into his first class the following Monday and saw her sitting next to the only other empty seat in class. He went right up to her and told her he thought she was the most beautiful human being on earth. And when the teacher started class, Gramps said he could hardly breathe for the rest of class, especially when he realized he was in the wrong classroom. But instead of excusing himself, he waited until it was done. He thought Gran was taking diligent notes, but instead she was writing him a letter, since she had noticed it as well. The letter was read at their wedding after graduation. Want to know what that letter reads? I felt that was how people should fall in love. Instant connection. So Gramps and Gran stayed in the States. They had Mom, but Gramps got offered a teaching job back in Ireland when I was a baby. Ireland rules. So they went and would visit us every summer. Now I was visiting them. They almost didn't know what to do with me. Unfortunately, I wasn't much help. "Can I please help you with that?" I asked Gran as she readied supper. "You sit right there. You've had a long trip." Does she have an Irish accent? Like, I'm not very good at Irish accents, but I'll try. I sat down at the kitchen table. I should have been exhausted, but I think I was the kind of tired that made you super hyper. "You should join me tonight at the pub to hear some real music." I'm just doing it because I don't know. Whatever. Gramps said, sitting down next. I'm really distracted today. Sorry, I'm ruining this for you. Okay. James Minock, you're not taking our only grandchild to a pub on her first night in town. I don't know what this accent is. Don't judge me, okay? It's supposed to be Irish, but Irish leprechauns. That's not all Irish accents, but I could just try doing that. That's more like English. I'm really not good at Irish accents, I've discovered. Alright. You're right. He rubbed his faded ginger beard. That's more of a Wednesday night activity. He winked at me. Gran groaned. McCallen, honey. I have tomorrow off and thought we'd go round town. I can introduce you to some of the townsfolk. We've been telling everybody about your visit. She'd have a better chance meeting people of her generation at the pub. That's enough from you. Gran pointed a wooden spoon at Gramps. I'm sorry, this is just gonna be a really weird accent, so I'm dealing with it. Now. Gramps got up and went into the kitchen to wrap his arms around Gran. It was sweet how much in love they were still after all these years. I promise to be a good influence on our dear young impressionable granddaughter. Gramps had his back to me, so I could see him crossing his fingers behind his back. Shoot! Gran pulled away. I forgot to pick up some thyme at the store. At the store. I stood up. I can go get it. I like to go for a walk. I've been sitting for too long. I tried to do the math in my head of how many hours, maybe even days, I'd been awake. It took me only a few minutes to get my bearings in town. There's basically the harbor front Harbor Front and Main Street. Harbor Front and Main Street. Plus, if I got lost, all I had to do was ask where Jim and Betty's place was. It was that small a town. Since I had some time before dinner would be finished, I decided to go down to Dingle Harbor and watch a few boats come in. I wandered in one of the tourist shops and grabbed a few postcards. Then I made my way past the colorful buildings to the small grocery store a few blocks from my grandparents' place. I picked up the fresh thyme and waited behind an older woman who was getting in a great debate about whether or not some guy was cheating on his wife. I'll help you over here. I'll help you over here. Don't know. Okay. I heard a voice call out. I went to the other register and handed a bunch of sprigs to a young guy with messy black hair. Once you get me mum started, you'll be waiting all night. Thanks. He smiled at me. You didn't look. I didn't think you looked familiar. American? Yes. I felt embarrassed that I could be figured out so easily. I'd only said one word. Tourist? He helped me figure out which coins I needed to pay. Yes, well, no. My grandparents live. Recognition led his face. You're Jim and Betty's. Is this Jim and Betty's? The one behind the other register came over. Hi, I'm McCallen. I held my hand out. Welcome! The woman bypassed my hand and hugged me against her slight frame. We've heard so much about you. You're from America. Yes, outside Milwaukee in Wisconsin. It's near Chicago. Pleased to meet you. I'm Sheila O'Dwyer. That's a nice Irish name. And this is my son, Liam. Also kind of Irish name. Hi. I gave him a shy wave, which he returned with a hearty laugh. Sheila quickly ran off to help a new customer. So, McCallum from outside Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Liam said with a crooked smile. Sorry, I didn't know. I felt so stupid. I should have said I was from America. No, it's fine. I love the States. Madison is the capital of Wisconsin, and Milwaukee is the biggest city. I even watch your American football sometimes. The Packers, right? I couldn't help but instantly like him. A fellow Packers fan in Ireland? I felt my cheeks get hot. Daniel kept teasing me I'd meet a boy named Seamus O'Leary McCunkie, and here I was meeting a Liam my first day. Liam enthusiastically continued. I hope to study abroad there while at university. I think either Boston or New York City or California. I cringed at the mention of Levi's former home. Liam pretended to not notice. Have you been? Oh, I went to New York once when I was little. I spend a lot of time in Chicago, since it's nearby. Ah, yes, the Windy City. Liam pointed his finger in the air. I'd love to talk to you about America sometime. And I will have you know that I do love Ireland, especially our fair peninsula. I'll happily be your guide. That would be great. Liam smiled at me, and I felt a flutter. Grand. I found myself walking back to Gren and Gramps with an extra bounce in my step. After supper, I wrote out my postcards before bed and stared at the one for Levi for far too long. I never overthought things with him, but I had trouble figuring out what to say. Things would be tense before I left. At first, I was mad at him for ignoring me. Then he came over and tried to kiss me. For a few seconds, I thought it was dare for one of those guys, but I could tell he was confused. So was I. I knew it would be the best for us to have a break, but it still felt weird to not write him. I didn't want things to be strained between us. If I wanted things to return to normal, I'd need to start acting like everything was fine between us, and if it wasn't, I would fake it. Dear Levi, greetings from Dingle. Insert joke here. I'm sure I'll have already talked to you by the time owls have delivered this, but I wanted you to see where I'm spending summer. Isn't it beautiful? Wow, jealousy really doesn't become you. I hope things are going well with your American football practice. Yes, I've already changed so much. I must now go back to the flat and use the lift in the loo. And they say Andiagian, Slayante, McCallen. It took me nearly an hour to figure out how to sign it. Love wouldn't be too charged, and anything else would have felt calculated, which were exactly how my cheers in Gaelic felt. I gave up for the evening and let sleep take over. I had the whole summer to fret about Levi, but for now I wanted to enjoy a good night's sleep before my sightseeing date with Liam. It took me only a couple of days in Dingle to wonder why I'd been resisting coming to visit the past few years. It wasn't that I didn't want to visit my grandparents, but I guess I thought it would be strange. However, it was anything but. It was quickly becoming the best summer of my life. I'd start every morning with a runner bike ride and witness the green sprawling landscape, the jagged mountains and dark blue waters. It is nice in England or Ireland. It really is. I never thought my little Milwaukee suburb was a concrete jungle, but compared to this, it was Manhattan. Manhattan. I'd come home and make lunch for my grandparents, then either sit outside and eat or go to one of the restaurants in town and help out in the kitchen. I was determined to make proper fish and chips for everybody when I got home, or I'd go get some Murphy's ice cream, hence the need for the daily run. Or I'd hang out with Liam, and it didn't go without notice. So, Grant linked elbows with me as we went for a daily stroll. That Liam's a nice fella. You two seem to be getting on quite well. Yeah, I admitted. There really wasn't much more to say beyond that. We'd hang out and have a good time. He was a nice distraction, but I wasn't kidding myself. Liam was cute, and that accent made him even more swoon-worthy. But how old is he? Is he like old, graduated? What? But I also knew the last thing I needed was to complicate my life further by getting involved with another guy. I didn't even know if he liked me that way, and if he did, it was probably because I was a mysterious new girl from a faraway land. I couldn't help but laugh. What's so funny? Gran asked. I was thinking about how different my reception in Dingle has been to when Levi first came to school. How is Levi? You haven't said much about him. I studied Gran's face and found the same cheekbones and eyes as Mom's. I wondered if this was what Mom would have looked like if she'd had the opportunity to grow older. McCallen? Oh, he's fine. We walked for a few minutes in silence. I'm sure she thought I was thinking about Levi, but instead I was thinking about Mom. How much she would have loved being here with us. Gran, do you think about Mom often? She stopped in her tracks, sadness overwhelming her delicate features. Every minute of the day. Every minute of every day. Me too, I confessed. It's important to remember her. She would have been so proud of you, Kelly. That's a better name than You look more and more like her every day. She reached up and stroked my hair. The worst thing we could ever do is forget about her, and believe me, it gets easier every day to bring up the memories. I nodded. It was still hard. At first I was in shock, then angry. Every time I thought about her, I was mad, furious that she was taken away from me. So I tried desperately to get her out of my mind. But no matter how much homework and cooking I did, she was always there. And then it became comforting to me. Because even though she wasn't physically there, she would always be with me. You know what I think we should do? Gran asked. Go get ice creams at Murphy's? She laughed. Then she laughed the same laugh as Mom. Well, of course, but I also think that every night at dinner we should share a favorite memory of your mother. Would you like that? 4 years ago, I would have hated it. 4 months ago, I would have felt uncomfortable about it. But now, here I was, finally ready to celebrate my mother's life with others. I'd like that. I paused, and I think Mom would really like it as well. She gave me a little squeeze. Yes, she would. We continued walking, both of us inside our own thoughts, although I was pretty sure I knew that what occupied our minds. There was almost a lightness to me once we started our ritual. Every night we'd tell a story, usually a funny one. Gran and Gramps would break... Sorry, my phone is ringing. Don't know if you heard that, but that's what that was, if you hear it. Okay. Gran and Gramps would break out their old photo albums, and I'd be amazed at how similar I looked to teen Mom. It had taken me a long time to open up to Levi about Mom, but now I found it easier to talk about her. I'd even mentioned her a few times to Liam. She sounds brilliant, Liam says as he drove us around the peninsula. She was. I took in the breathtaking views. It didn't matter that I'd been there for over a month. Whoa, how convincing. I still hadn't gotten used to the sheer magnitude of the beauty. I just can't stay in the summer place for too long. You know what? Just never mind. Maybe it will be good. Ramble. I want to go somewhere this place that I've never been. Oh well. By the way, you should have come last night. Liam glanced at me. It was a great crack. I was stunned into silence. He started laughing. Oh, relax, Yank. It's crack. Crack means good fun. Conversation. It's C-R-A-I-C. Crack. Means good fun. Conversation. Atmosphere. Did you think we were doing drugs? No, of course not. Actually, I totally had. Here we are. Liam pulled off to the side of the road. We were surrounded by lush green hills, and down below we could make out the tiny town of Dingle. It's gorgeous. You haven't seen anything yet. Liam led me to another rocky hill, which had a small waterfall flowing into it. What do you think? I started to carefully climb up the rocks. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Well, I plan on giving me the ultimate American tour when I come to the States. I plan on you giving me... Yeah. I turned around to say something to him and my foot missed the rock. Before I knew it, I was ankle deep in mud. No! I pulled my foot out, but it was too late. My entire canvas chute was covered. Liam jumped up to help me back down. Well, that won't do. He bent down and removed my shoe. I was horrified by my clumsiness. He went over to the shallow puddle of water and started cleaning off the mud. I could do nothing but stand there with one foot on the ground, hoping I wouldn't fall over from my lack of balance. The shoe was considerably cleaner, yet it was soaking wet. We both stared at my dripping, dirty shoe before Liam shrugged and took both his shoes off. You know the saying, when in Dingle. I laughed and removed my other shoe. We explored the rest of the area and barefoot. Barefoot rules! Shoes are overrated. He reached out his hand to me on a particular steep climb. Thanks, Levi. Liam gave me a questioning look. Levi? Huh? You said thanks, Levi. Who's Levi? Oh, I did? That's odd. What was odd was I hadn't even yet mentioned Levi to Liam or vice versa. Levi's a friend from home. Liam raised his eyebrows. Friend, huh? Yes, aren't guys and girls allowed to be friends in Ireland? It depends on if you want to be friends with a girl. He came over and put his hand on my waist, or if you want something more. So what do you want? I held my breath. I didn't know what he was asking exactly. Did I want something more with him or something more with Levi? I clearly didn't know the answer to either. Part of me thought a little vacation romance might be nice, but I still hadn't fully figured out what to do with Levi. We'd been talking more and more each week. I was there, but it didn't change the reason I was currently thousands of miles away from him, from home. Excuse me, a recognizable accent broke me from my thoughts. We looked down to the middle-aged American couple. Oh, okay, excuse me. A recognizable accent broke me from my thoughts. We looked down to see a middle-aged American couple. Would you take her picture? Of course. I hopped down and snapped their photo, grateful for the interruption. Liam began chatting with the couple when he found out they were from Dallas. He wanted to know more about everything from cowboy boots to the Cowboys and barbecue. It really was adorable how dorky he was about all things American. Liam excused himself from the Texans when he got a call on his phone. Brilliant, he exclaimed. If I had learned anything in my few weeks in Ireland, if I had learned anything in my few weeks in Ireland, it was that everything was brilliant. Food, music, an idea, possibly a kiss. It was such a better word than awesome or amazing. Yes, we should say brilliant. Start saying brilliant now. Do that, and fabulous and stuff. Just do that instead. Yeah. I was thinking of bringing it back with me as a linguistic souvenir, but when I tried it out at Levi when we were video chatting, he'd laughed at me. Then he did a minute or two of recreating everything I said, but in an exaggerated Cockney accent. I would have been angry if it hadn't been hysterical. So, me mates are having a party at the beach. Liam filled me in. Shall we? Only if there's tons of crat. I fired back. He laughed. Totally. He headed into his car. Not so fast, Yank. I groaned. Sorry. I always went to the driver's side of the car there. I hadn't gotten used to it being to the opposite side. We'd headed to the Cogner Strand, one of my favorite places to sit and relax. It wasn't a beach for swimming because of the currents, but it had a gorgeous view of the Blanket Island, the Blasket Islands. I had met only a couple of Liam's friends at this point, Connor and Michael, who referred to me as simply as the American. I wasn't sure if they actually knew my name, although I was more than aware that they were familiar with my Scottish namesake. Liam, Connor cried out when we made our way to the blankets they'd lined up on the sand. And you brought the American. That was the weirdest accent ever. Connor my throat is hurting. Oh, this is almost done. Connor handed Liam a bottle, then turned to me. Can we tempt you? I'm good, and only 15, I thought. I am 15. You Americans are so uptight about alcohol. Connor laughed and went to sit with the other group. Are you okay? Liam asked. Yeah, although I didn't think I was. I saw Liam grimace slightly at someone who was behind me. Is everything all right? I went to turn around, but he stopped me. Yeah, well, no. 'Tis me ex, Sayoban. He took a quick swig of his bottle. I'd heard him mention Sayoban a few times. Do you want to talk about it? He shrugged. Not much to say. We did it for a year. She fancied another fella, and we broke up. 'Tis fine, except things are awkward. Mostly for me. It's hard to be reminded that you weren't good enough for someone you know. I understand, I said. That's sort of how I feel about Levi. I thought you said you were just friends. We are. But then he wanted more. I don't know. Liam looked around the beach. I'm fine leaving if you want to go back to town. Let me go say bye to Connor and Michael. Liam looked up. Sorry. Lost my place. He walked off while I stood there awkwardly. Then I heard a familiar name. Sorry, I interrupted a group that was near me. Were you talking about Bucky and Floyd? I love that show. The guy who was talking exchanged a look with the girl with dark hair. Yeah, I was saying that they're apparently doing a Christmas special. Really? I asked excitedly. They haven't had any new episodes in over 5 years. The girl scowled at me. That show is so lame. I'm only interested in it because the guy who played the younger brother is hot now. I smiled at her as memory surfaced. I know who you're talking about. He's hilarious. Remember the episode where Floyd got locked up in the school gym with him? I started laughing at the memory of Levi repeatedly imitating Bucky, looking into the gym window and saying, Blimey, if I knew you'd be here, you're not really the fit type. Whatever. The black-haired girl went back to ignoring me. Right then I recognized the feeling that was steadily growing inside me. I absolutely loved Dingle. I loved being with my grandparents, and everybody, present company included. It had been so warm and welcoming. But this wasn't my home. These people weren't my friends. Truth be told, what was really bothering me was Levi. I missed him. I'd started missing him when I was still home, while we were still in school together. I wanted him to be next to me. He would have loved Dingle, this beach, this beautiful view. But he wasn't here. Liam approached me with a resigned smile. Ready to go home? Yes. Yes, I was. There's so much more to this chapter. I'll resume this in a sec. Now let's move on to this very long chapter. Liam opened up about his relationship with Sayoban on the drive back. I think that's how you pronounce it. Either way, if I'm wrong, it is spelled Siobhan. Feel free to correct me. Liam opened up about his relationship with Sayoban on the drive back to my grandparents. They'd known each other since childhood and had the tight-knit group of friends you'd expect in such a tiny village. Then they decided to date. Now they didn't even talk anymore. Liam couldn't even be on the same beach as her. It gave me a lot to think about, and all those thoughts revolved around Levi. I had to talk to him to make sure that we were still friends, that we'd still be able to be in the same room together when I got home. Fortunately, my grandparents were out, so I was able to go right to my room and dial Levi on the laptop the second I was dropped off. I did the math and knew he would hopefully be getting home from morning practice. My leg was shaking by the third ring. All I kept thinking to myself was, please be home, Levi. Please be home. The screen lit up and I saw Levi's naked chest in front of me. Hello? I asked, feeling my cheeks get hot at the sight of Levi's body. Hey, he adjusted the towel around his waist. Sorry, just got out of the shower. He walked out of view for a few seconds and returned with a t-shirt on. His hair was wet and sticking up in different directions. Hey you, I was spelling your ear. Why, well, hello to you. Buggy and Floyd are doing this Christmas special, I blurted. His eyes lit up. Are you serious? That is bloody brilliant. He winked at me. Ha, ha, I stuck my tongue out at him. I see being abroad that has really helped with your maturity. Totally. He opened his mouth to say something, but then he tilted his head as if was studying me. Are you okay? It was the same question Liam had asked me not 30 minutes before. I gave him the same answer. Yeah. But here was the difference between Liam and Levi. Levi knew when I was full of it. What's wrong? The genuine caring on his face almost made me cry. Just a little homesick, I admitted. I was surprised by Levi's reaction. He smiled. "Oh, I'm sorry," I said. "Are you enjoying my misery?" He shook his head. "No, it's... You always seem so happy whenever we talk. And I want you to be happy. But I also want you to get home already. I miss having someone to laugh at my lame jokes. And, well, I miss you. I miss you, too." There was a silence between us, not because we were uncomfortable, but because we didn't really need to say anything else. We both felt the same thing. I finally spoke. "But hey, I'm sure the next 3 weeks will fly by." "Actually, it's 16 days, he corrected me. "Oh, so you're counting," I teased. "Duh, it's on my calendar. McCallen returns and life officially doesn't suck anymore." "So are you saying your life would suck without me? I'm assuming you're quoting Kelly Clarkson because you miss having such a strong, independent girl like myself around." Sorry. Ha, nicely played. But of course. He paused. Here's the thing. We started out friends." I laughed. "Wait, are you now insinuating that since I've been gone, you can breathe for the first time?" "Since you've been gone, I can breathe for the first time." Yes. "Wait, no." I shook my head. "You really are becoming unraveled without me." He had that familiar crooked smile on his face. "I know. You go away and I can't think straight. It's amazing I can even get up in the morning. Oh, how I miss your dramatics. Nobody else appreciates them like you do." "I know. So let me make sure I get this," Liam said to me as we waited in line at Murphy's to get some ice cream a couple nights later. "Your best friend is a guy. He likes you as more than just a friend, and your response was to run away to Ireland?" "Well, when you put it that way," I tried to joke, but I started to feel a little silly. "There's a lot more going on." "Ah, right," he nodded. "He started to hang out with his guy friends." "And was ignoring me," I reminded him, and decided to open up to Liam about Levi. I figured nothing was going to happen between us. We both had too much baggage. So maybe it would be helpful to get an outside opinion on the subject. But unfortunately, I had a feeling he was going to take Levi's side. I guess bros gotta stick with bros. We placed our orders. Liam always got Guinness and brown bread, which didn't taste as bad as you would think. I ordered my favorite combination, sea salt and honeycomb. After we grabbed our cones, I decided to make one last plea for my case. And remember, I basically don't see him for months. Then we get into a fight, and then he comes over and tells me he loves me. It was out of the blue. Liam took a lick of his cone. "Was it really?" My response was to be really into eating my ice cream, which I was, but I also didn't have a proper response. "But you only think of him as a friend," Liam stated. And I could tell that he didn't believe me. "You're not attracted to him at all?" "No. Yes. He's Levi." "He's Levi? Is that some sort of Yank expression I'm not aware of?" he teased. "So he's your best friend. He's Levi, whatever that means. I don't really see what the problem is." "It's difficult." I began to walk faster to the harbor. "Yes, you keep reminding me of that, but there's the thing. It doesn't sound that difficult. You're only making it difficult. It sounds like there's a lot between you. Don't be afraid to make it any more." I smiled tightly, not sure if I should believe him or not, so I played it lightly. "Since when did you become some sort of relationship expert?" He looked at me amusedly. Tis common sense, really." I faced the harbor, which was lined up with the buses bursting with tourists. So I better go see this dolphin. Ever since I'd arrived in Dingle, everyone had been asking me if I'd seen Funky, the town dolphin. There was a statue of him right next to the information center where Gran worked. I'd gotten my picture taken with the statue my first week there, but hadn't seen Funky yet. "It is rather shocking that you've been here for 6 weeks and haven't gone." Liam took out his phone and gestured at me to pose for yet another photo by the statue. "Have some pride in Dingle, will ya?" I sulked next to the statue. "It feels a bit touristy." "Right, because you're not a tourist." He snapped the photo. "We've got to make sure to get everything in over the next few days, because you'll be home soon, so there's lots to do, including a decision that needs to be made." He didn't have to remind me. The next few weeks flew by. Gran and Gramps did everything to make sure I got to see as much as I could before I left. I was almost too tired for my farewell party, but if there was one thing I'd learned during my 2 months in Ireland, that I don't get why people, like, they'll go somewhere for, like, 2 months, like, just the experience or whatever, because I only go for, like, 3 weeks, maybe a month. And that's enough, sort of. I get homesick, so, you know, in my case. Anyway. Sorry. I was almost too tired for my farewell party, but if there was one thing I'd learned during my 2 months in Ireland, it was that the Irish knew how to throw a good party. Yes, they do. My grandparents' backyard was transformed into an impromptu music session. We hung up fairy lights around the trees to make it even more magical. Gran and Gramps' friends, who had become like an extended family to me, started trickling into the backyard. Some of Gramps' musician friends brought their instruments, and music soon started to fill the cool evening. Liam arrived with his mom. "Hey, I brought you something to remember me by," he said. He handed me a CD. The cover was the photo of me with the fungi statue. I opened up the case and saw a listing of Irish bands he'd introduced me to during my visit. "While I love all things American, we Irish have superior music. Not like you have any Yank beds on your iTunes, you Anglophile. So it's time you heard some proper non-U2 Irish bands." Irish bands. "Thanks." I gave him a hug, grateful to have had him around during my visit. Gramps asked everybody to quiet down. I want to thank you all for coming here to bid our favorite granddaughter goodbye." "Your only granddaughter," I clarified. There was laughter from the guests. But I think it would only be appropriate to send McCallen off with a parting glass." There was nods from their friends, who lifted up a glass. I joined them in the toast, but was unfamiliar with the song they started to play. Gramps looked at me fondly and began to sing. "Of all the money that I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm that I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And for all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall." Everybody joined in at this part. "So fill me to the parting glass. Good night, and joy to be with you all." Gran then joined Gramps as he wrapped his arm around her. She sang in a clear, beautiful... Sorry, I'm still not sure. She sang in a clear, beautiful voice. "To all the comrades that I had, they're sorry for my going away." She smiled warmly at me. "And all the sweethearts that I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be with you all." I feel like I do know that song. I don't know. Probably not though. But that's a good song for farewell. I felt tears rolling down my face. I shouldn't have been sad about leaving my grandparents in this wonderful place, but the tears weren't for them, and Liam knew it. "I'll make it simple for you," he said, leaving it. "If you want to be with him, be with him." My throat felt tight. "I can't. I hate that you haven't actually said the friggin' age of it. I'm just imagining that he's like 17. That's my guess." Yeah. He shook his head. Liam often teased me about making things difficult. Typical American, he'd fondly call me. I'd ask why, but you and I both know there isn't any good excuse good enough. Stop making excuses and be with him. I knew he was right, and it terrified me. "Do you want to be with him?" I didn't think. I answered what I knew was the truth. "Yes." "Then be with him." He got up and joined the group at the front singing. "Good night, and joy be with you all." I was surprised they didn't hold me at customs since I was so shaky and nervous. As soon as I got my proper entrance stamp and baggage, I bounded for the greeting area. I ran out and didn't have to wait more than 2 seconds before I heard Dad, Uncle Adam, and Levi calling out for me. I turned and saw Levi holding a huge sign. "Blimey, if we know where McCallen is!" I laughed and ran up to them. There was a flurry of hugs and exchanges of "I missed you," and "You look great." Dad and Adam took my luggage and went to get the car while Levi waited with me outside. I'm so glad you're home," he said. He wrapped his arm around me and I fell into him. We both stayed there for a while. It felt right. It had always felt right. But I'd kept telling myself that it would ruin our friendship. Never had I thought about how it could make things even better between us. I knew the average high school couple rarely made it work long term, but there was nothing average about Levi and me. I heard his phone go off and he silenced it. I closed my eyes again, grateful to be back with him, back home, happy that the awkwardness we'd had when I left had been erased. I reached for his hand and entwined his fingers in mine. I was debating telling him everything right there and then, but the last thing I wanted was for my dad and uncle to drive up during the conversation, especially if it ended up in a kiss. I was pretty sure my dad would be making up new rules about when and where we could be together if he saw that. Levi's phone went off again. He reached to silence it again, and I noticed an unfamiliar name on the screen. Who's Stacy? I asked before I had a chance to stop myself. Stacy. Levi pulled away from me. Oh, yeah, that. He shuffled uncomfortably. I wanted to wait for you to be settled in before I told you that you and Stacy would not be allowed to be at parties together. He laughed lightly. Why would this girl and I not be allowed to go to? No. Hit me like a wall of bricks. You have a girlfriend. Well, we've been hanging out. I'm not sure I'd say girlfriend yet, but she's cool. Stacy Hobbs. She's our year and on the cheerleading squad. Oh. I knew who he was talking about, but I was trying to figure out how this had happened and why Levi had conveniently neglected to mention anything to me about it. I found myself stepping away from him a bit, needing some distance to try to make sense of it all. But enough about me. Tonight is all about you. Levi stepped forward. I should warn you that Mom's obsessed with making shepherd's pie for you tonight to ease you back into the Midwest. And you know how paranoid she gets cooking for you. She throws in some brilliance and all will be good. So throw in some brilliance and all will be good. I gave him a weak smile. Come here. I miss you so much. He put his arms around me again. I don't think I'm going to be able to let go. Having your best friend leave you for the summer blows. He kissed me on the forehead. But I promise to stop being jealous, and I want to hear every detail of your trip. I want to be inundated with photos and stories that will make me green with envy. I mean it. You have to tell me everything. But I really couldn't tell him everything, since there was one thing I had to keep to myself. Awkward. Dude, do you realize you'd said something right then, everything would have been different? Like you would no longer call me dude? Whatever, dude. But don't pretend that I'm the one into drama when you yourself let us into more drama. You got me there. So you're admitting that I'm totally right? Sorry, I might repeat this. So you're admitting that I'm totally right? No, because you have to admit life is more interesting with a little drama. Are you serious? Life is more of a pain in the rear with drama. Oh wait, you're totally right on that one. My bad. Oh wait, you're totally right on that one. My bad. And, I can't remember how long my last video thing was. Like, if it was an hour, I could resume this and read this with it. And this 37 minutes or 38 minutes is just way too much to handle. I'll just do a part 2. So, I think I may do that. But we'll see. So, probably a second part. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That was long. My throat hurts. I actually had to take a break because dinner and my throat was killing me, and now it's killing me again. But that's what you get for, like, reading a long time out loud. But it was fun, and I love doing the Irish accents, even if they were a complete fail and kept switching to English ones, but that's nothing. I like doing that. Anyway, just come back and read chapter 12 next time, I guess, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to make this a 2-parter. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I am out. And welcome back to chapter 12 of Better Off Friends by Elizabeth Eulberg. I was saying and thinking of doing chapter 12 separate of chapter 13, but I think I'm just gonna keep all chapters together. So, because I obviously have not published any of these, so, well, I will have some for you guys, but I think I'm just gonna put, because I was looking back and I actually had one that was like 55 minutes of chapter 9 and 10, I think. So, even though the last one was like 40 minutes, I think this one's a little bit shorter. So, we'll see how that goes. And apologies for my voice, because I don't know, I'm not really sick, but my voice is weird and it's early in the morning, so yeah, I'll do my best. Let's start chapter 5. Not chapter 12 then. Not chapter 5, chapter 12. Let's start reading. Chapter 12. I was so stoked to have McCallen back. Summer wasn't the same without her around. It wasn't until she was truly gone, thousands of miles away, that I realized how much time we spent together each summer. And yeah, even though I had my guys, it was different. It didn't feel the same. Nothing was the same without her. Wow, actually this voice is helping me with my guy voice. That's thankful. That's thankful. At first I was mad at her for going away, but then I got it. We probably needed to a break to recess things. I truly loved McCallen, I did, but I realized that she didn't feel the same. So if the only way I could have her in my life was as a friend, that's what we'd be. I admit, she looked so cute when she got out of costumes at the airport. She had the sleepy look she got when she was either super tired or under a lot of pressure. She was pretty quiet on the drive home and at dinner that evening, but I felt a lot better just having her near me. I probably should have told her that about Stacy while she was in Ireland, but it never had felt like the right time. Stacy was great and really cool, but truthfully, I thought I should have a girlfriend by the time McCallen got back solely to avoid any more awkwardness. I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable or think I was still pinning over her. I had to put that aside, and I wanted things to go back to normal. I wish I could say that things went quickly back to how they'd been before all of our problems, but McCallen started acting almost uncomfortable around me. At first I brushed it off as jet lag. She nearly cut off her finger one day in the kitchen when I asked her advice about Stacy, and McCallen was always very careful when she was cooking, so that I got. But after a week of her dropping things around me whenever I got too close to her, or her avoiding my eyes, I realized that my confession to her might have done some significant damage that wouldn't take a lot longer to repair. I was willing to give her the space, whatever she needed to feel comfortable around me again. It was 2 weeks before school was starting, and McCallen was busy in the kitchen with my mom. She'd come over to hang out with me, but the second my mom showed up with a bag of groceries, McCallen jumped up to help her, and I hadn't seen her since. It seemed like every time we were supposed to hang, she'd find something else to do, someone else to be around. I guess this was how she felt the second half of sophomore year, discarded. If I could have taken back that confession to her, I would have. Keeping it bottled up inside probably would have destroyed me, but better my sanity than my relationship with her. After nearly a half hour of being ignored, I decided to go into the kitchen. McCallen was sitting at the kitchen table, not helping, not doing anything, just chatting with Mom. "Oh, sweetie," Mom said to me, like she'd forgotten I was home. "McCallen gave me a new barbecue recipe that I'm going to try out tonight. You have to join us, McCallen. I feel like I haven't seen you that much since you got home. Plus, I need you as my expert taste tester." McCallen beamed at Mom. "That sounds great." "Fantastic." Mom looked over at me. "Stacy likes brats, right?" Yep, I replied. McCallen hit her head. "Oh my goodness, today's Wednesday." Oh, I'm so confused right now. Okay. McCallen hit her head. "Oh my goodness, today's Wednesday, right? I thought it was Tuesday. I have something tonight." "Aw, that's too bad." Mom looked genuinely sad. Levi, how did you driving class go today?" "Oh my god, that's so weird that people drive at 16. Like, I can't believe I could drive in, like, a year." But yeah. Good. I almost mastered parallel. I can't pronounce it. Parallel parking. I was thinking that I would really want to take my driver's lesson test on my actual birthday. No, don't do that to yourself. Okay. My 16th birthday was in a few weeks, and I had my fingers crossed for a car. Sure, Mom paused. "Although you're going to have your first football game of the season the next night, so I don't want you to overbook yourself. School comes first, you know that. But I figured that if I got my license, then I could drive us all into Milwaukee for a birthday dinner or something. Again, I don't want you overdoing it. We should think about doing something low-key for your birthday. 16 is a big one, but I don't think we should get crazy. You can go out with your friends after the game." Her phone rang and she picked it up and went on to the other room. This was so not like my mom. She completely brushed my birthday aside. Mom always freaked out over my birthday. Extravagant, overplanned parties. The bonus of being an only child, I guess. I turned toward McCallen. "Wasn't she being weird?" She looked confused. "What?" "My mom, just now. She was so weird about my birthday, don't you think?" "Huh?" McCallen looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. "Don't remember how she usually is with my birthday. She always makes a big deal out of it." McCallen's eyes got wide. "You're right. She's a monster." Maybe I was reading too much into it. So was she planning something? Not that I know of, honestly. I studied her for a second and could see she was being truthful. Maybe she thinks we're growing up and don't need to have a big party with clowns and balloon animals, she offered. "But I really want a balloon animal in the shape of a horsey," I pretended to pout. "You're probably right. Although I usually have to calm her down over my birthday, and now it's almost like she doesn't care." McCallen dismissed me. "Wow, you're being so dramatic." Your mom is almost the most loving mother ever, so just chill. I think all the practice in the sun has gotten to you. I was used to being in the sun, but being outside in the sun wearing a football uniform wasn't exactly easy on my body. Yeah, I guess you got a point. Well, anyway, what do you have going on tonight? Huh? Tonight? Tonight, I said. She looked at me blankly. You have some plans so you can't stay for dinner? I decided to poke her playfully at her side, but she jumped. I wasn't used to being her being this nervous around me. Something had to be going on. Her eyes lit up. Oh, of course, it's a family thing I have with Uncle Adam. Is everything okay? Yeah, it's really not a big deal. I promised I'd go see a movie with him tonight. She wouldn't even look me in the eye. Oh yeah, what movie? I forgot which one he wanted to see. Okay, it didn't take a genius to figure out that something was going on with McCallen. She clearly had plans tonight that she didn't want me to know about. I wondered if she was already dating someone. She hadn't even been back that long, but what else could it been? She was disappearing and making excuses to not hang out as much. She hadn't even met Stacy. I knew she knew who she was from school, but this was different. Whatever it was she didn't want me to know, I had to respect her privacy. The last thing I wanted to do was make it worse. I used to complain about the cold weather in Wisconsin when I first moved here, but little did I realize that the August heat waves would become the bane of my existence. Keith walked out of practice with me. This has never happened before, California. You've never had a practice canceled? He shook his head. Nah, this heat wave is brutal. He walked up to his truck and he unlocked the door. Thanks for the ride, man. No problem. He smirked at me. Oh, sorry. Thanks for the ride, man. No problem. He smirked at me. I'm sorry I didn't bring a car seat for you. I couldn't wait to get my driver's license. I hated having to rely on my parents or friends to get me around, especially practice. Listen, if practice doesn't work out tomorrow, you should come over and run a few plays with me. My backyard gets pretty shady in the afternoon. Sounds good. I paused for a second. I know guys are supposed to be chill, but I really appreciated everything Keith had done to help me with the team. And thanks, man, for everything. I don't think I would have made varsity without you. Yeah, well, you're fast. We need a fast guy. But don't start writing me love letters yet, he laughed. You still got to get in the game and catch the ball. Got it. Get in the game, catch the ball. Then write you love letters. He pulled up outside my house. Yeah, but I wouldn't want McCallen to get jealous. She's a tough one. If only chicks could play football. I hopped out of the car and noticed Mr. Dietz's car parked out front. I rushed inside, calling out, Is everything okay with McCallen? I stopped suddenly when I saw Mom and Mr. Dietz leaning closely together at the kitchen table. They were looking at a piece of paper. Oh! Mom jumped up. What are you doing home so early? I looked between them. Something was off. Is McCallen okay? Mom shot Mr. Dietz's nervous glance. He stood up. Yes, she's fine. I was just in the neighborhood. He tried to grab the paper off the table nonchalantly. I know how to say this in my head. I can't say it though. Okay. Nonchalantly. That's the word. Okay. But I can usually pronounce it. But it was so obvious what he was doing. What's that? I motioned at the paper in his hand. Oh, well, they exchanged another letter. I was asking your mother for opinion on some cooking stuff. I was going to get McCallen for her birthday. For some reason, I didn't buy it. Really? Can I see it? Mr. Jitz was on his way out, Mom said, right as the coffee maker went off. Mom never made coffee only by herself. She did it when she had company. Yes, he excused himself. I was taking a quick break from work. You know, Levi, I was hoping to surprise McCallen with this, so if you could not tell her I was here. I didn't like deceiving McCallen, not when our relationship was in such a fragile place. Between McCallen's behavior and our parents' secretive meeting, I couldn't help but think there was something going on that I wasn't being told. It was all very mysterious, and I was in the mood for mysterious. In the next week, Mom and Mr. Dietz seemed to be talking on the phone a lot. Not that Mom told me it was Mr. Dietz. I had to sneak a look at her phone. I figured McCallen might know what was going on. I headed over there the Saturday before school started. Normally, I just walk in, but since McCallen had been so uneasy around me lately, I knocked on the door. Oh, hey. I could instantly tell that McCallen didn't want to see me. She definitely knew what was going on, and I wasn't going to leave until she came clean. We walked into the kitchen where she had all this dough and flour on the counter. I'm making pasta, she said as she began working with the dough. This was usually the part where she would invite me to stay for dinner. She always did that. But I hadn't gotten one invitation since she'd got back. The only time we sat down for a meal was her first night home and during our Sunday night family dinner. The thought of having to sit around the dinner table the following evening made me uneasy. There was too many unanswered questions. I decided to not dance around the subject. Are you keeping something from me? McCallen stopped cold. I knew it. What are you talking about? She threw some flour on the dough and turned around so I couldn't see her face. I think there's something going on with you. You're doing that thing you do. She tried to play it off lightly. Cook? Yeah, this is what I do now, Levi. Call in the detectives. She laughed, but it was self-conscious, almost calculated laughter. She wanted me to brush it all off and move on. Unfortunately for her, I wasn't going to do that. Enough was enough. Come on, McCallen. I'm not an idiot. You've been distanced. Our parents are talking to each other all the time. They would have been. Why would they have to talk about it if it wasn't one of us? I don't know. They're friends. Aren't friends allowed to talk? Stop making some conspiracy theory. Friends talk. Yes, friends talk, but that's not what you and I have been doing. She ignored me and continued to roll at the dough. Can you stop for a second and sit down and talk to me, please? I moved a chair for her to sit down next to me. She hesitated. She never used to be so guarded around me. McCallen sat down with a towel in her hands. She methodically wiped the flour off her hands, still refusing eye contact. McCallen, can you please tell me what's going on? You've been acting different since you've got back, like I made you uncomfortable now. She finally looked at me, and she looked scared. I had a lot of time to think in Ireland, and things have been different since I've been back. I have been different. It's just that, I guess, she looked down. Levi, I think our friendship has been through a lot lately, so I don't want to add any more tension. Seriously. Can we not do this right now, please? I want to give her some space, but wasn't 8 weeks in another country enough? Frustration started pouring over me. I'd always been truthful to McCallen, but I couldn't help but feel that she was lying to me, again. I'd been so concerned about McCallen and her feelings, but what about mine? It had hurt me when she went away. I had tried to give her everything I thought she wanted, my time, my attention, and it still hadn't been enough. But this time it wasn't on me. She was the one who had left. She was the one who wasn't around. She was the one who was canceling on me. I'd been there the entire time waiting for her to come back, but I still felt like she was gone, and I was tired of waiting. You abandoned me. The words flew out so fast I didn't have a chance to catch them. I confessed my feelings for you, and you just walked out and abandoned me. Do you have any idea how much that hurt me? But I gave you space and you didn't say anything because I hoped once you got back everything would be okay between us, but they're not. I don't know what else to think because I'm not the one acting weird. Oh, really? Her voice rose sharply. You're turning this on me? Yes, you confessed your feelings to me. You left this huge door open that I came home to find it slammed in my face. A door? What door did I slam in your face? I couldn't wait for you to get home. Instead of yelling back at me, her voice wavered. The entire time I was in Ireland, I thought of you. You certainly gave me a lot to think about, and I did, Levi. A lot. I wanted to make this work between us. So much. I got off the plane thinking we'd have this happy ending, and then I had the rug pulled up from under me. I think all the time about when the plane was landing in Chicago. How different things are now compared to what I thought they'd be. How foolish I've been. So yes, Levi, I'm not there for you as much, but you're not here either. Are you kidding me? I've been here the entire time, McCallen. You were the one who left me, and you're the one who's been ignoring me. I waited months for you to return, and you're here, but you're not really here. So just tell me what you want from me, because I'm tired of guessing and tired and feeling like I can never satisfy you. So please, enlighten me. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her gaze was transfixed on the floor. She refused to even look at me. I wanted her to stand up and fight for this relationship, but I already knew she was giving up on me, and at the moment I didn't care. Why was it solely up to me to fix things between us? Especially when I had no clue what more I could have done, but nothing I did ever seemed to be good enough for her. She always expected so much from me, and that was the heart of the problem. McCallen didn't want to share me with others. I got up and started walking toward the door. Had she said something, I would have turned around, but she didn't. As soon as the door was closed, the fight left me. I was exhausted by the constant questioning, all the drama. I began walking home, putting distance between me and my former best friend. If this is how it was going to be, it was better to know than to pretend. I felt a newfound freedom with every step. Maybe McCallen going to Ireland was the best thing that could have happened to me. It proved that I didn't need her to be around me to be happy. Sure, I had missed her, but it was more the memory of her, how things used to be. She had changed, and so had I. It seemed we were both hanging on to someone who no longer existed. I decided right there all I wanted was a drama-free junior year. If that meant it was without McCallen, so be it. I was done with our games. We both went through the motions on Sunday nights. Fortunately, I only had to put up the act for the first 2 weeks of school before I started making excuses to get out the dinner. It didn't matter. I had an awesome birthday. The guys came after the game. Stacy brought some of her friends. Of course, Mom invited McCallen, but thankfully she didn't come. She didn't even give me anything. Her birthday was in a couple weeks, and I planned on returning the favor. If only our family could have figured it out and stopped forcing us together. Fortunately, I was always free on Saturday night, so it could just be me and my girl, my real girl. Stacey had been great about the whole McCallen thing, which meant she never really brought it up. She just let us be. She let us be, which had nothing to do with that. I appreciated it. That Saturday, when she pulled up in her car, she seemed extra excited to see me. "Hey, handsome." She bent over and gave me a kiss, the high ponytail brushing against my cheek. "I thought we'd try someplace different for dinner tonight. You in?" "Sure," I shrugged. I wasn't in a great mood. The previous night had been our third game of the season, and I still hadn't gotten any playing time. This is so American. I know it's American, but just football. Ugh. Anyway. The previous night had been our third game in of the season. I still hadn't gotten any playing time. I could run fast. Was getting better with catching, but Coach wasn't putting me in. I could show my frustration, so it bounced onto the other people in my life. Where are we going? I asked when Stacey pulled into a hotel parking lot. "I heard the restaurant here is really good." She laughed nervously. I got out of the car. Stacey looked at her phone. "Can you hold on? I have to make a quick call." "Sure." A hotel seemed like a strange place for dinner, but whatever. Stacey usually knew what she was doing. But things got weirder. "Levi," I turned around and saw McCallen and Daniel. "What are you doing here?" "What am I doing here? What are you doing here?" Daniel looked at each of us and stepped in the middle. "So crazy, right? I guess this is a new place to be," she laughed as Stacey came over. Hey guys, Stacey said warmly to McCallen. "So insane that you're here." She exchanged a look with Daniel. I guess we should go in." She started walking faster, with Daniel keeping step and saying she liked Stacey's shoes. This left me next to McCallen. "Are you following me?" I asked her. She groaned. "Yeah, whatever. It's just a little odd that you're here. I never even knew this place had a restaurant." "It wasn't my idea, it was Danielle's," she said coldly. "How convenient for you." Daniel and Stacey let us inside and stopped in front of these giant double doors. I was so annoyed at this, that I had to be stuck eating in the same vicinity as McCallen. I highly doubted this was a mere coincidence. She clearly couldn't handle not being around me anymore. McCallen stopped and looked right at me as if she could read my mind. "Get over it yourself, Levi." She stepped in front of me. "After you," Stacey said as she and Daniel opened up the double doors. I put a scowl on my face to let them know how much I didn't appreciate the situation as I began to walk into the room. "Surprise!" A loud shout echoed in the large ballroom. It took me a second to figure out what was going on as I saw the faces of friends and family greeting me. Then I saw "Happy Sweet 16th Birthday, McCallen and Levi" sign. The secret meetings between our parents had been for a birthday party. Obviously. Did anyone else get that? I turned to look at McCallen, who looked as shocked as I felt. So she hadn't been lying to me about not knowing what was going on. But she was lying about something else. Mom came up laughing. "Did we pull it off? Were you surprised?" I didn't think I'd ever been so shocked in my life. Talk about being oblivious. I know, they got us so good. I was referring to our parents. How could they not have figured out that we weren't even talking? Yeah, we weren't speaking. They just threw us a joint surprise party. I'm more shocked that Danielle didn't say something to my dad. She doesn't hold things in. Like you do. Oh yes, I was the one who was being irrational. Man, I was being such an idiot. I'm sorry, I don't believe I heard you. Could you repeat that? Yes, I was being an idiot, a total idiot. Even I wouldn't have wanted to hang out with me. And people think girls get emotional. Again, I was really confused after you abandoned me. And you wondered why I had to leave the country. Okay, that's it for chapters 11 and 12, I think, and it was really long. But yeah, I hope you stuck around for that, and well, I'm trying to finish this book because I have to give it back in 2 days, and there's quite a chunk left, so let's just keep on reading this. Bye bye.